Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Robert. It was very formal, wasn't it? I was like, oh my God, I'm still getting used to the name Robert, but I like it. It's strong, but being called Robert or saying my name is Robert I don't know, it just feels weird. It just does. I don't know why, but possibly because my father's name's Robert and his father before him, but there's this ancestral line of Roberts. But anyway, welcome to my channel. And this video, I just pressed record and did this wonderful little spiel and had one of those moments where it wasn't recording. So here we go. But I felt like it possibly may have been a little bit of a dry run to potentially get clear on what it is that I wanted to sort of discuss and read. And it's kind of morphed into this example of the type of readings that I like to do and how I like to use the sort of the things, the tarot cards, my relationship to them, the board that I use, or what I like to call is like the mandala, how astrology plays into it. And of course, these aren't my reads all the time. If you're out there and you're a reader or you're interested in this sort of endeavor, there's so many, it's just a creative endeavor, everyone's so beautifully unique in the way that they not only read tarot, but, apply it to not only the person coming in, but in a way, I suppose it's kind of an introduction to me and sort of how it is. Because if you've just clicked on this video, you're like, well, there was something there. And I kind of wanted it to be for an introductory, not only to myself, but how I read and sort of what I like to do and how I do it. Because most of the people that are probably have tuned in from an expo, because I'm not so visible on social media, or YouTube, but we're looking to get there because YouTube's awesome, and so it'd be lovely to sort of have a channel and do some reads. So for now, though, I just think it's important for me to sort of give you a little bit of a taste of me and how I like to give a reading and so on and so forth. So if I pan down and have a look at the board, I like to read on like I said, let me just straighten that out. My OCD kicks in. A board, a mandala, a map, if you will, of your consciousness. So for this example, it's my consciousness, and this reads all about me and what's happening for me. So I will open up and share that reading, mainly used as an example with which to show you sort of how we can use tarot and play with it, I think is the most important thing, and have some fun with it. Because ultimately, it's a card game, isn't it? And I like card games, Magic the Gathering and so much and so forth. And some of those things I like to incorporate into tarot reads, especially if you're at home and you're like, oh, I just want to get into some tarot, or I want to do a little reading for myself, or I want to have a little bit of a fun. I recommend getting yourself something that is contained. So whether it's a board such as this or something that is in a circle, I find to be really, really helpful because it kind of describes, it keeps everything contained, but you can use squares, triangles, diamonds. You can go nuts, and go crazy. But as you can see, I've got some stuff on the board. Now the cards are already laid out. I didn't consciously put them there, but you can consciously put them there. So for this read, I didn't consciously put them there. They kind of fell there, and I'll explain to you, no matter how you read the board, it's however you read it, it's however you read it. So if you're more into sort of at that stage where you're looking to have a certain outcome play out, great. Or if you're at that point where you're wanting to know what's happening in the circumstances and what is the potential future, or what's going on in all these, what's going on in my life, what's happening, or what's going on if you're a reader and you're giving a read and you're like, well, what's going on for that person? I obviously, like I said, use a mandala that's got the astrological things on it because I'm into astrology as well as tarot, as well as all the things. You know, I like to be all inclusive with all energies and all things. So if we have a look at the board, we can see the position that I'm reading it from is myself as not only as in the middle as a magician and underneath that. So I put sort of the person, who they are at their very core, or what they want, the energy that they want to identify with. So this is a very much me as a magician reading. And there's a, excuse me, a book out there called Who You Are in the Tarot, which I really recommend. I don't have it on hand, otherwise I would show it to you. It's a really good book in terms of we are all, now of course we are all of the attributes in the tarot because they are archetypes, they are energies, and everyone has every aspect, especially of the major arcana. You know, like we are all of those archetypes, and we play out those particular archetypes at certain points in our life, or they come about to give us, you know, to help us learn about ourselves and whatever. But for this read, and I am sort of the magician in the tarot. I am a 1 or a 10, 2810. So in the tarot, the identity of me in the tarot is the magician. And it came out and it just fell on in the middle. And I thought, well, okay, great. It's going to be a magician reading for me, which it has turned out to be. Okay, so we've got what fell on Leo was the Knight of Wands. And if we know a little bit about the Knights, they are, as the card suggests, movement in some way, shape or form, or some movement around you. In this particular read, it was very clear to me that it fell on Leo. It's a wand, and wands have this interesting connection with our career, with our direction, with our creativity, with our passions. So for me, it was a very, very clear message that I'm heading with the energy of Leo, heading in the direction, naturally harnessing my own confidence, my own self-belief, my own passion, and I'm heading towards the energy of penultimate creativity, or that inner empress. And we can see that potentially could be ourselves, it could be someone else. You know, if you want to get more details, generally I'll have another pack of tarot, and we can get identifiers and we can put some things down on top of that. But the main thing here is the cards all carry a certain energetic frequency. And I just happen to be happy with that particular placement. And so therefore I'm like, yay, fantastic. What I can do is I've got these two aces over here, and they came out on Libra, and I rolled Libra. So there's a really powerful meaning that intuitively what I gather from that is that some part or all parts of this reading, the key element here is balance. And I can see that I've got another ace on the board. So I've got like an ace of wands over here, and I've got, which landed on harmony or the Libra, and then I've got the ace of swords, which landed on Scorpio, which is kind of your power, your spiritual power. So what I can do, what came to me and what I deduced from that as I rolled, was the importance of not only harmonizing the direction which I'm heading, you know, passionate direction, but harmonizing that with the mental sphere. So making sure that I'm So I'm thinking clearly about things. I'm making clear decisions, making sure that, things are progressing with clarity. And the emotional side of things sort of panned out around the bottom of the deck, but I will get to that at some stage. So what we can do with the energy of it, and this requires some level of, not belief, but generally if you're kind of having fun with things, you can treat it as a bit of a game. I am going to just potentially, and in Magic the Gathering, there's certain things that you do with the cards, and you turn them to the side, right? Turn them to the side. So what that does is it means that it's using the energy of this card, and you can give it to energetically cast spells in the game. But in tarot, I like to use it, well, I'm using this energy to amplify the knight. So now he is just fully going to be heading in that direction. And what I'm tendenting to do here is to just shift over the Ace of Swords between the power and the Libran, the Scorpio and the Libran energy. So making sure that what I'm balancing is my mental sphere, and I think when you get an understanding of who you are and know your placements around the chart, you'll know what attributes there'll be more of an in-depth understanding of yourself. And if you know the other person's chart, there'll be a much more of an in-depth understanding. For example, Libran's very big in the second half of my chart, or the outer personal aspects of my chart. So it's really, really important, my relationships with other people and how I'm affecting them. And so to be clear and to concise and to cut out some people and to, you see what I'm saying? So it has deeper meanings. But for this particular introductory sort of thing, basically using them, and you can manipulate and you can shift and change the energy, because energy is not stuck, right? Excuse me. I'm having a bit of, every time I do like videos, I'm like burping and so the key, and if you have a little key, and I did have a little key, I always like to put like a key to a reading too. So if the key is balance, I'd probably pop a key down there. For now, the dice is representing that. And we can utilize the dice in many different ways, in many different shapes. But in terms of the read, yes, I'm starting to get more creatively energy heading in this direction, starting to feel myself move forward in my areas of not only psychic readings, but in producing videos, and so in a more passionate, driven way. So I want to amplify that, and this period is all about that for me, heading from this position of starting from the Cancer, which I've just put a little moonstone there. Basically for me, understanding that the moon has its cycles, and we go through waxes and wanes, and we go through new beginnings and all sorts of things. Just recognizing that the starting place for me in this read is from my Cancerian nature. I'm working towards more heading into my own Leo-ness and ultimate creativity, and then getting down to a balanced mindset. What's happening on your right, I think, and my left, is in the area of adventure, or Sagittarius, which is also expansion and growth and understanding yourself on a deeper level. It's crossed with the Hierophant, which usually means some form of spiritual guidance, or and in this read, you're probably seeing it as like Two of Cups, and the Hierophant is like, oh my God, you're going to get married. It's like, maybe. But for this read, what I'm gathering is that the introduction of a mentor into my life, which has already appeared, because the relationship is one that's going to be very mutually supportive on an emotional level. And it's crossing the career, and it's crossing sort of my expansion. So not only is it going to help me expand as a person, but it is related to sort of the career and what I'm doing. So that's why that's crossed. And it's crossed in the sense that now, like we were talking about in the game, I felt like if it had been sort of there, it's a potential for that to come about. But I've actually met someone who we're going to be working together, so it came out that way, and so therefore I don't have to sort of play with the energies. I'm very happy that that's come about. So I look forward to that particular relationship, and I think it's going to be a very rewarding one for me. So I've got down here a beautiful happily ever after 10 of Cups. And as you can see in the picture, they're having a great old time. It is, depending on how you read, and this is where you get into your own personal understanding of how you read tarot, which is as diverse as the tarot itself. There are some guidelines and some things that certain cards at a base level mean basically the same thing. But you can get interpretations that are more in-depth. I like to read them not necessarily from the strictest sense of what the tarot is. I like to just intuitively, you'll have a feeling. Yeah, like when we were reading about the night. Nights are generally movement. They're movement in a direction. And I can gather from that it's heading in a very passionate, driven, focused, with the aces obviously on board there as well. And I'm sort of amplifying, getting inspiration. Very, very good, solid. I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. So we can see with the Ten of Cups, it's the happily ever after sort of card, but it's also the fantasy. In this particular case, I'm not seeing it from the fantasy point of view. I'm seeing it as moving from the Piscean, because we've got the Pisceans shifting, and we are actually currently shifting from Pisces to Aries. And at this time, I'm actually feeling a sense of emotional fulfillment. And it's not because I have the happy home. It's not because of all those things. It's more of an internal process that as we go back, and obviously I went from this way, but because it's a circle, we can go the other way, right? You know, it's directional, but it's also, this could be future, this could be past, but they all sort of stem and all meet. So again, it's just your ability to play with these sorts of things and to have fun with it. So you can see here that there is some emotional loss that's coming up. And we can see that in the middle, the moon is still revealing on a subconscious level. It's not revealing the secrets of other people. It's revealing those things within oneself that are coming to the surface. And I've placed that underneath the magician because I want the moon's energy to come through the magician so that I can use it. I find if I put... It did fall out that way initially in the read because the magician was before the moon, and it just made me aware of it. And I was just like, maybe your subconscious is having more of an influence on your conscious mind and that actually was the case. And so what I've done energetically is just go, okay, thank you for making me aware that my subconscious is really sort of playing out. And it's playing out in dreams, and they have been affecting my sense of, for a lot of us, dreams are really powerful, potent, and also they affect our waking sort of dream. So it's energetically, I just wanted to filter the energy of the moon through the magician so that I can get it deeper. I'm more in control. Now, not necessarily me per se, but my consciousness on a conscious level, my subconscious is there. But I want to filter it through the magician so I can work with it. I'm not ruled by it. And being a Cancerian, as water signs, where often there's a depth. And going through the Piscean season, that's a huge introspection time. Pisces is they're the fish. They just swim around in that depths all day long, Come up for air, man, So, but cool. I'm more of a land-based sort of crabby. I can go into the depths if I need to, but so I can look on this one, and this is the sort of vulnerabilities of past hurts and things that the moon is sort of bringing up still, and it's still present, and it fell on Gemini on top of the Two of Pentacles, which is normally traditionally very much about sort of juggling, sort of making a decision. So twos are usually a choice, and the choice that I feel that is here, because it's affecting it's affecting sort of a sense of stability, affecting my sense of finances, and so to speak. The financial situation is very good and opportunities are coming in, but the effect on what I read from me on a personal level, and like I said, and I'll keep saying it, is that you can read it any way you want and follow your intuition. That's the whole point of reading, and not only opening up to your psychic gifts, but your intuition. It'll just nudge you, or whether you want to talk to your guides, or whether you want to talk to God, or call in whoever you want. That's what's so fun about sort of this realm, or this thing that we're doing together. So basically what I read from that is I want to, again, I popped the heartache, not ignoring it, acknowledging it. But it's time then to decide how much of effect that's going to have on this particular energy. And there is a choice. Ultimately, I feel to head in a certain direction. And which rotation do I want to go around? Also, just intuitively coming to me now, we are heading towards this area. So ultimately, I'm heading towards a good time, and I feel that. And I didn't, that's nice to know, P.S., because I do feel, emotionally really stable and really comfortable at this time. It's also asking me to sort of, this will make shifts and changes and possibly head off in other directions. And there will come a choice about the financial situation that I'm being placed in that is really important to, for the future. So that's really informative. I've got the key, which I usually put a little stone there, which is a little key, and it's on Taurus, and it's a very fixed position. My mum's Taurus, and I just happen to be, deepening that relationship with her in that sense. And so there is an affluent or a powerful Taurian energy that is playing, energetically linked into this. And obviously for this introductory reading, I don't have to go so in depth about that, but again, we can understand how it all ties in. So that's sort of how you can have a bit of fun with tarot readings using some like a mandala and the tarot deck, and it is sort of treated in many senses as a game, but I think it's really important to view why we play games and why not mental games with people and things of that nature. But you can learn a lot in the game of life. And it also can help you deal with certain failures and certain successes in a way that's not so invested, if that makes any sense. Like it can really sort of, and I did a little podcast, if you want to pop over to my podcast channel, about the game of life, and sort of it just sort of came through, and it's using the energies at play and working it in a way that's really conscious. So I know a lot of people, they're not wanting to, they just want to know what's going on, but there's a lot of people out there that are really like, all right, I really want to learn how to not just be at the whim of the universe, have insight and be open and vulnerable about what's going on, but also all right, how can I work with it? And what is the best attitude to work with energy? It's usually when you're in play. Yeah. Like, why do you go and play all these games? A board game or a card game, or usually to have fun. And they're involved in that is challenge, involved in that is sacrifice, involved in that is, it's, yeah, like I said, I won't go into that because I did a whole podcast on it. But in many senses, that's an introduction to me. And yeah, and the reason for that was because, yeah, it's a beautiful platform, YouTube too. And so many people out there doing so many wonderful videos. I mean, I think it's amazing. And kudos to all of them, and lots of energy out, and hopefully everyone's a huge success. I hope you got a little bit of a different way of doing a reading, and I hope this was in some way fun for you to have a look at. I'm endeavoring to do some more videos, but I won't say what they are just yet, because this is not about that. This is just sort of having a bit of fun and putting a video out there. So anyway, I hope you're all doing really well. Just briefly on the end, if you've come this far in the video, a huge transit going into the lunar eclipse, and there's so many beautiful people out there that have got information about that. Check it out. Check it out, what it means for you. And yeah, I won't go into the whole depths. The only thing is that comes through is I feel like it's another universal nudge to head in towards our North Node position. And your North Node is that the part of you, that person who you are, that just really wants to, shine, or it's what you step away from what your South Node position, your comfortability, your known stuff. So again, very directional, and just feel the progress, head in that direction. Step 1, step 2, step 3. It's okay if it's all linear and you're not quantum, right? Yeah, don't worry about any of that. Just you're heading in the right direction, and it's a progression. So I wish you all the best of luck with the transitions that are taking place. If you are wanting a read from me, please visit my website. I'll endeavor to have the description decked out with the right information for you. Please, I'd love to have a read. I've got a website, just book through that. If not, I look forward to talking to you on the next video. So much love.